Hey, salam alaikum, alaikum, Wakwenden Sara, que Zambia lo gutare con mucho más y mene. Um, you know, there seems to be a lot of people that love to hide behind the screen, thinking that because they're hiding behind a computer because they're hiding behind the screen, they're safe. And there's a lot of people that just love to challenge. They love to poke and poke and poke and poke. There's a lot of people out there that question. So I'm going to tell you guys a little bit of my story. I'm going to show you something here to start. My book. See how old this book is? This is my book, Brahma con Brahma. When I got adopted in Brahma con Brahma. This book is called Pati Pemba's Everything here, right? Which unfortunately I can't share with you. But let's start with something here. People like to challenge. They like to ask questions. And it says today, Thursday, the 17th of the year 2001, Danufito Carlos Alfredo Vieira Jr. is presented on top of Lucero, Engonda, and Fu, and Fifi Lemba Congo. Okay? That's the name of my godfather, Brahma con Brahma. He's Lucero, where I got presented. De from his tata and fumo siete rayo menso en tua en sasi brillumba congo busca rastro brahma con brahma. De la rama, from the rama, or from the lineage, Brahma con Brahma Mayombe Monte Oscuro. And Fumo's name again is Siete Rayo Menso en Tua en Sasi Briyumba Congo Busca Rastro Brahma con Brahma, also known as Macho or Felix Patilemba Brahma con Brahma in New York. Now let me tell you something. I have no issues with my godfather. I have no hate towards my godfather, even though we had a disagreement, because this changes people. And it's funny because it's in my reading, right? That in the reading it said that we were gonna go apart because of chisme, gossip, and that's exactly what happened, right? We separated, but when we separated at that time, I'm already at Tatenganga. I already had the ceremony of Enchufla, ceremony of Vela, and he gave me an Enganga, my Lucero Monte Oscuro. Okay? Just like the name of the Munanzo, Monte Oscuro. Okay? There was a young lady in Dallas, Texas, that I went and gave her a cleansing and a presentation. This lady calls him up because I interviewed him, got his information, started saying that I initiated her and that he was the grandfather. When I have done so many ceremonies with this, my godfather at that time, I have did so many ceremonies with him. I just want to clear something up, even though I don't have to give anybody an explanation, but I want to talk about this, okay? Because I know you guys gonna keep asking about Felix and why doesn't he teach people? Why does he scam people? I don't care about that. That wasn't in my time. My godfather taught me a lot, and even though he told me that I was kicked out of Brahma con Brahma, which it didn't happen that way, I told him I'm walking out because at the time already I was already working with Jesus Hernandez El Prieto. Okay. And I was in Colorado and I couldn't be going back and forth over there. So this young lady told my godfather that I scratched her. And he got upset because we have a law that it says that when we do some ceremonies for a certain amount of time, that we have to give our godfather a derecho. But that law kept going for many scratches that I did until one day I said no, right? And it wasn't even a rayamiento. It wasn't a an enquimba. It was just a presentation for protection, right? So there's where him and I had a disagreement, and I told him, you know what? I'm walking out, and he said, "Well, I'm kicking you out." And the only thing that I'm going to tell people when they ask is that I gave you your lucero and that was it. Okay. Because in the day of my adoption, I paid for the adoption, and I paid for my lucero. Okay. So I'm going to continue reading to you from the book, right? This is why books are very important. Malekum Bakwen and Sara. Okay. Hoy viernes, today Friday, the 26th, 2001. uh, we presented, of course, my name, my real name, to the seven en totos. Okay, because in Brahma con Brahma, we do that, what is called a presentation. Um, with the Bacanfula of the Munanzo Jorge Carmejo. Okay, Sarabanda, Vaina Indoki, Tres Noches a la Sabana. That is Acere. We used to call him Acere. That was like his brother, right? Who went with him, and he presented me on this date to the ocean, to the mountain, to the river, to the hospital, to the four corners, to the church, to the cemetery, and presented me with all the elements. I remember we were in the Bronx, and we went to a river by the Bronx Zoo, near the Bronx Zoo, and we went down there, and then he presented me to the river, and then we went out, and then there's a crossroad, and there are car passing by, right? And I said he has this bag of, I don't know why they do it, right? We don't do it that way, and this one, so we don't do it. So here's the crossroads, and I'm there, right, stuck in the middle of that crossroad, and Padrino's like blowing rum, blowing smoke. He's singing mumbles, and I said he's throwing candy to the four corners. I don't know why. Okay. I think that was like a synchronized thing with the leg one up. But he's throwing candies, he's doing offering to the four corners, and the cars are just going by. And I'm like, oh my God, I felt very embarrassed that day, right? But this is an adoption. I was previously scratched into Tata and Kisi before through Cota Lima. So I'm getting what we call recoger sombra with Brahma con Brahma. And I said he's doing all this stuff, and I'm like, oh my God, oh my God. And then after that day, I remember, because I know this was another day where he took me, because he had just done a santo, and we went to a path mark with one of the godchildren, because he didn't drive, so I had to drive him around. I took Padrino everywhere, right? And I still have the respect to call the man Padrino, because in reality we didn't have any issues. Whatever he's doing now, I'm not part of that. That's not my problem. I'm already with my own moon and soul, because you understand that when you're giving an inganga, you also have already your own moon and soul. Okay. Then we went to Pathmark, because he had to steal a fruit, and I'm like, oh my God, this motherfucker is gonna get me to jail. I'm gonna go to jail. They're gonna, you understand? I don't do that. I'm not used to doing that, right? Taking things. I'm like, no, man. If I can't afford it, I just walk around. But I understand it's something that we do. They do with ceremony with the Orisha stuff. So he's like looking to what they steal. But then I was like, hey man, just freaking take that freaking plum. And he grabs it. He goes like that and put it. And I'm so nervous that day, right? I'm so freaking nervous, and I'm like, I'm gonna go to jail. Oh my God, I'm gonna go to jail. What are they gonna say in the radio station? Because in that time I worked for Fiesta 98.5 in Long Island, New York. I was a radio VJ, and I worked for there, and I was very well known in the Long Island area as what we call a locutor. So for those who live in New York, I was the one that said, "Huepa, hey, fiesta 98.5, Carlos Alfredo Palero, ya contigo rumbo a las 7 de la noche, y lo vamos con esta rica bachatita que dice, dame veneno, sube el volumen, fiesta 98.5." So that was my voice. That was me, right? Um, my godchildren love that when I get a little bit and I start talking that way. Okay, so that day is where, my padrino, which is also known here, right here, padrino, Macho Patilemba, Madrina, Sarabanda, Enfumbe, Enganga, en Maibaconfula, Tembla Tierra, Vira Vira, which his name is Angel. Now, I'm not going to give Angel's full name, okay? Because I still have respect. Mhm. Here's the thing. Hoy, today, the day 26th of March, 2001. Se jura, swears, Carlos Alfredo, blah, blah, my name, arriba de siete rayo, matari, en sasi, en sila, en ganda, en ganga, en quita, munanquita. Gajo de siete rayo de barata palma, ayaya, espantamalo, gajo de sarabanda, chichiri, chichiriqueo, prenda mundele, endoki. And there's more because I'm not going to give you the whole name of the prenda. That's disrespectful. Where he swore to everything in the house of his godfather, Macho Patilemba. The people present that were witnessed that day, here's the list. Padrino, Macho Patilemba, Felix Gonzalez is the one that caught me. Madrina, Sarabanda, Enfumbenganga, Maria Gonzalez. Bacunfula, Tembla Tierra, Vira Vira, which I already say his name. There was another one named Juan, Lucero Casco Duro. Andrés, Sarabanda en Doki Malo Media Luna. Andrés was Brazilian. Lázaro, Lazarito, my godfather's kid, who was also a tat already. Patayaga, Cuna Enfinda, Campo Lemba, Remolino. And Kevin, who was also kicked out of the house for doing some things on top of Padrinos and Gangas and without asking permission. Padrino at that time, I don't know about now, Padrino at that time was the kindest man. If you didn't have a place to stay or live, Padrino will open the doors and you will go there and stay there. He will feed you. And of course, you will have to, you help there. A lot of his godchildren would just live there, right? We will all cook and we will all eat. If he does that now, if he doesn't, but Padrino was different when Madrina was there, okay? And then they separate. Kevin, brazo fuerte. Okay, now he does voodoo. Unfortunately, this guy, I don't know, lost it. And the last thing I heard is, I'm not gonna say his last name. He got a rooster and then he put gasoline and turned on the rooster and killed. And he deserved that. Okay. So the house of Brahma con Brahma, where we come, was founded in Santiago de Cuba, Calle Los Positos, which is also known as a cabildo. Damn, what is that called? Calle Los Hoyos, Cabildo San Benito de Palermo. Okay, and it was founded in 1990. No, 1990, 1890. But it arrived to Cuba in 1907, and the founder of that was Reniero Pérez Quesada, also known as El Congo, which also had Ocha down. Now I'm gonna go and explain my lineage, okay? Because the one proof, I'm gonna give you the proof right now, my lineage, right? Thank you, Luna. After Reniero Pérez Quesada comes Vicente Portohondo. Okay. After, and I'm not gonna give the names of the pots, but I do have them here. I have all the names of the pots here. After him comes Santiago Carnaval. Oh, and this is important. Santiago Carnaval had a pot named Sarabanda Acaba Cuento. Remember that, because I got adopted in the Acaba Cuentos. I got tratados from Acaba Cuento, which that is where Jesus Hernandez El Congo came, right? Or El Prieto. After him, after Santiago comes Lionel Rebelin Coea. After him comes George Luis Arteaga, who is the one who Lionel brought Brahma con Brahma to New York. And also George did. And right here is where Brahma con Brahma separates from my my god brother that I introduced you guys to, okay? Because from George Luis Arteaga comes Antonio Sanchez, also known as Tony Ochosi, okay? Tony Ochosi in Philly. That is my abuelo, that is my tronco mayor, right now, a Brahma con Brahma. After him comes, of course, my godfather, Felix Gonzalez, also known, and I also gave you guys the name, um, who also my madrina, Maria Gonzalez. Okay, I have all my notes here are what they call a bakat. In my Monanso, we don't do bakas, right? And then I have handwritten. Well, I'm going to share with you. Padre, Father Kuwayende, Mother Centella. Okay? Because that's how we did it back then. And then my name, which you guys know, Patilemba Tiasamundo Yeremico Urinfumbe Sietemfuka. And I left something out there because I'm not going to give you guys my whole name, especially the ones that talk the enemies, right? And the name of my Lucero, right here. Lucero Monte Oscuro, the Lucero that I received. And it's in Nganga, right? And the name of my Patilemba, Michael Wayende, that I'm supposed to receive. And then that was one of the biggest issues. Since I wasn't in New York at that time, and at that time I was in Colorado and I couldn't go back and forth. Why? Because I moved to Colorado and I opened the bar, nightclub, restaurant. I owned the bar, nightclub, restaurant in Denver, Colorado on 5th and Santa Fe. It used to be called Cheros. Um, Salam alaikum, Jay Ortiz. And I was busy. I did not have time. And at that time, it was better for me to travel back and forth to where Jesus Hernandez was. And I told Jesus Hernandez this is this and this and this and that. He's like, no, don't worry about it. I'll build you the pot. And since I already had tratados with him, because I told the story, I already had tratados with him, I decided to get the pot, which is my Allende from Macaba Cuento, that does come from the lineage of Brahma cum Brahma. Okay. Here is some of my firmas real quick. Here's another one of my firmas real quick. And I'm showing you this, why? Because this was changed. Because when Jesus Hernandez was like, yo, that's not cuenta. That's not how you write things, right? Here's the day and time when I receive my Lucero, real quick. Testigo, who was there when I received Lucero? Sarabanda, Endoki Malo, eh, Siete Rayo, Kibamba, Sumbre Canasta. That was the one that was there when I received my Lucero. Okay, so that's my lineage. And then I have what is called more bakas and more things where it says, here we go. Things that I came, my whole reading. That's how old this book is. More readings of what the Muerto says. And where it says, whatever you do, don't lose your spiritual family. But that was also a warning for him. And that was a warning from Centella. Okay? Don't betray your godfather, and your godfather also has a thing where he should not betray you, no matter what people do. And I guess he forgot that, right? But again, listen, I'm not talking here about my godfather. Did I learn things from him? Yes, I did. I was like his shadow. I used to go, hey, Padrino, what you doing? Hey, I'm doing this. Mijado, can you come here, pick me up? There were days that he was stuck in Long Island. I live in Long Island, and because he went to do rompimientos and stuff, I picked him up and drove him all the way to the Bronx. Never asked the man for money. We did a lot of readings. There were lines at the door. I was helping him. I was writing down things. I used to take him to City Islands when we used to do rompimientos. There's where I met his old godfather, because Felix was also adopted to Brahma con Brahma, and he was adopted by Antonio Sanchez. Because I think originally he comes from Corta Lima. Now I'm not gonna talk too much about Felix here because that's his things, right? Uh, but guys, this happened. This happened. I myself have a whole bunch of godchildren that I have adopted. And again, like I said, if your godfather ever comes up to you and you are a yaya nganga, you are a tata nganga, right? Or even a tata nkisi, and your godfather says you're out of this lineage and I don't want you representing this lineage, it's the same thing I told him. The day you give me my menga back, I'll stop saying that I'm Brahma con Brahma. And on top of that, I'm tata nganga. Because I don't have no oath to you. The only thing I have an oath to is the nganga. The Nganga is who I owe everything to. Without disrespecting him, of course, right? Because I'm not here to bash him, talk bad about him. Um, yes, have I heard many things out there, but that's none of my business. Because on the time that I was under him, under his guidance, the man taught me. The man taught me in Saras, and he normally wouldn't teach other people. The man taught me how to read. The man taught me a lot of things. I was his shadow. I was here, going there, going there, here. He would take me to Angels, and it's on, I believe it was in Brooklyn. He would even take me to Tambores of Orisha that I wasn't even allowed. I used to go there, and he's like, "No, this is my house." He's, and they used to let me in. That's the story where I told you that uh, when I was going through Ifa, a I got a reading by a Babalao, an Ifa priest, and he told me right that your son of Batala. And I mean, I don't feel Batala. I don't feel Batala, right? I don't feel it. I don't think I'm a Batala. I don't know, man. But I still got my idea, my kofa, all the stuff, right? Mano de Rula and my thing. And then I went to this other Babalao, and he told me, you know what? I think your guardian angel is wrong. So this Babalao brought down, can call some other Babalaos. When I first did it, the first time I did it, there were like 7 Babalaos. And was in Virginia, very close to Washington, D.C. There was a famous Babalao in Virginia, Washington, Maryland, called Eloy, very famous. Who's the one that gave me Mano de Rula? But then in Fort Lauderdale, I had to travel when I was living to New York for Fort Lauderdale. Why? Because I had some problems, and when I come back, my guerreros were gone, so I had to receive guerreros again. And I got Mano de Rula for the second time, and this time Mano de Rula Chango comes out, right? So when I talked to Felix, I was like, man, and then Felix put down the Eleguas Caracol, and he's like, nope, it's Obatala. So that confused the living right? The living thing out of me, right? And I was always confused. I'm like, so is it Chango? Is it Batala? Is Chango, Batala, right? So one day we went to my godbrother's angel's house, my Baconfulas, that now I find out that you can't, well, not now, a few years ago, I find out that you cannot be a Baconfula and have an Nganga, right? You can be a Baconmula, not a Baconfula. You see the teachings, how bad it was back then too. I'm still not criticizing, right? But there were some things that I always questioned. And that's why when people ask me, do you teach 100% Brahma con Brahma? I'm like, no, I don't. I teach what I learned from Brahma con Brahma, but I also teach what I learned from Acaba Cuento. Okay, and I teach from the experience that I have that has walked with me that I gained. Um, and we went to my godbrother's angel, and Angel has a tembladera. Yo siento, what was the mambo? Eh, siento rum rum, y era tembla tierra que venía caminando. Something like that. Yo estaba durmiendo y sentí un rum rum. Yo estaba durmiendo y sentí un rum rum. Y era tembla tierra que venía caminando, right? So when I go in and I go in and you know say, hey, salam alaikum, alaikum, buenas tardes, yo mismo, whatever, you know, to tembla tierra, I started getting very emotional. And I'll be honest with you. I broke down like a little bitch. I broke down. I got on my knees. I started crying. There was nuts, boogers coming out, tears coming out of my eyes, and I couldn't breathe. And I was like, you know, trying to catch my breath. And I mean, boogers all in my mouth and stuff like that. I mean, I broke down. And Padrino comes up to me, Macho comes up to me, because they were like, what is going on, right? I mean, are you okay, Mijado? Are you okay? You want to go to the hospital? Are you in pain? And I'm like, yeah, 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 like a little bitch, man. I'm telling you, like a little baby. And then I finally caught my breath, and I'm like, oh my God, man, I feel so bad. Because at that time, Paulo is synchronized a lot. And I saw Tembla Tierra like Obatala, right? And something hit me, and I felt so bad. Um, And he's like, man, his padrino's like, yeah, that's what happens. You finally accepted him, right? You finally accepted him. It's like, in 2 days, there's a tambor, I'm going to take you. So I stayed at Padrino's house. I love to stay up in the attic with all the engangas. I slept in a petate, right? Like an estera on the floor. I slept with her with a candle and I slept like a baby. He also had like an old sofa there that I could sleep in there, but I like to stay on the floor because I was always picking up sombra, always picking up sombra. And then we went to that tambor. I remember it was in the Bronx. And this lady was Manteno with Obatala. And Padrino says, you know, he says uh, something to Obatala and he says, I want to know if this is your son. And she's like, mine, right? He's mine. And then the lady that was Monte Batala hugged me, squeezed me hard, right? And then she had a white cape on. She took it off, put it on the floor because the floor was wet. She took it off, put it on the floor, and said, "Go." And then that day they took me and sat me on the trono, and I was like, "Man, I know this tricks." In my mind, I was like, I listen, me and Ocha, I don't know, I don't get along with it. It's not that I don't like it. It's just it's not for me. But when you tell me in Ganga, it's like, oh hell yeah, right? Let's go. And when you tell me a Yimbula, I'm like, hell yeah. But when you, I'm like, man, and I'm not trying to disrespect any Orisha priest Santero, but it's just not my cup of tea, man. You know, but I felt and I started crying again. I broke down and like saying, Baba, I'm sorry, and Baba, Baba, right? Um, guys, point of the story is this: have your books, ask questions. This book, your lineage, is very important because there will always be fools. There will always be fools out there testing you. Not only do I have the book, I have like 5 books full of information from everything that I learned from my godfather. Everything. And not just him, everything that I learned from El Congo, right? Um, you never know. There are people out there always questioning you, always testing you, always trying to put you down, always telling you that you're Facenda, that you're Sancocho, that you're Nario, that you're not initiated. And I always say that's between me and in Zambia. In reality, I don't have to prove shit. I don't got to prove shit to no one. Um, but I always said, look, I'm going to tell you guys my story. So this is part of my story on how I started with this. Because the other story is about when I practiced with Kota Lima and everything that I went in Kota Lima. I mean, it was. I remember that day of my Nkimba, and that's when I got initiated into Tata, right? Tata Nkisi. And my padrino's like, put him down on the floor. And one of my god brothers, Mexican guy, damn, I forgot his name, got mounted by Sarabanda. But the problem with that house is, and I don't even know if it was a real Kota Lima house, right? And that's why I also decided to get adopted because they have this thing where they call ganga cruzada, where they cross and they say that in ganga is sarabanda con lucero, right? Siete rayo con ogun. And I was like, but at the time, I don't have the experience that I have now. And I'm laying on the floor, and dude gets possessed, right, by Sarabanda. He's like, nobody touches him. If you touch him, I will cut your head with the machete. So I didn't get my licks because the impungo came down and said that I wasn't supposed to be touched because I was born under a certain sign. And I don't remember, right? Because I was like halfway. Because in that house, they gave you a lot of chamba, they gave you a lot of rum. So I was like tipsy. I was more tipsy than right? Which I'm not gonna talk crap about that, but I have gone through a lot of the things that most of you guys have gone. Well, I'm in Houston, and I go to San Antonio. Actually, this weekend I was in Austin. Um, we went to Austin with my wife, and then we stopped in Brush Bay. What is the little town we stopped to eat on Saturday? Brastroff. So yeah, we go there a lot. We go to Dallas. We go there a lot to San Antonio, but we only like 2 hours away, 2.5 hours away from San Antonio. We are in Houston, Texas. Um, so yeah, it's ridiculous. Those, no matter if you talk the truth, people will hate you. I think there's more love for the fake people out there that are just talking nonsense than the people that really talk the truth and want to help people. And the more followers you get, the more hate you get, right? The more ridiculous comments. But you know what? Um, I don't let it bother me. It's not gonna change the way I feel because I'm not here to teach or share something with those guys. I'm here to share with those that really want to listen, who really have this burning desire to learn. And Palo, yes, in Palo, yes, I have always, right. In Palo, it's where the other tradition, because when it comes to Mitzi Katsikwa, when it comes to with her, people like to make up things. People don't listen. Um, they people like bullshit. Okay, and I'm a type of teacher that spiritual teacher that when it comes to Mitzi Katsikwa, I'm so straight. Right? I'm straight in everything that I teach, but when it comes to her, you better not fuck up. Because that's something that comes from blood. That's something that came from my great grandma, mi abuela, mi abuelito. That's something that runs within my family. That's something that my blood is born into. And every time I get a godchild from that, I get so disappointed because they love the BS. They this is a saying that when you get ahijados or godchildren, they always think that they're better than you and then they know more than you. Okay? Because whatever you learned in 40 years, they think that they're gonna learn it in 6 months, 1 year. You ain't gonna learn shit in 1 year. You ain't gonna learn shit in 6 months. You're not. This is not, I'm gonna get my things and I'm gonna start having godchildren. What the hell are you gonna teach them? If you've only been practicing this for 1 year, what do you have to offer your godchildren? Um, people even say, "Hey, why do you do this and do this?" Because I have some tobacco thing in here. I got like a little pouch thing in there, and I'm just moving it around and stuff. It's not that I'm trying to make faces. Um, but anyways, guys, I just want to start sharing a little bit of my story and to tell you guys that it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be hard. They're gonna challenge you. They're gonna make up stories about you. They're gonna say that you're a child molester, that you're a rapist, that you're abused of this person. And I'm like, why am I in jail? And they're like, oh no, because you're a brujo and that you know how to defend yourself. I'm like, see, people try to it hurts people's pockets when we start doing these videos. And what they hate the most of it is that their own godchildren watch this videos, and then they go ask him the questions, and they don't know how to answer, and now we have become enemies because for some reason we're changing the God kid's mind. My goal is not that. My goal is not, if you have a godfather, respect your godfather, always ask questions, work with your godfather. Because I'm telling you, if you call me and I tell you it's like this, is this, like this, doesn't mean that it's correct. It's correct for my lineage. It's correct for my rama. Brahma con Brahma or Acaba Cuento. Doesn't mean that it's going to be correct for Bititi Congo. It doesn't mean that it's going to be the same for Guindavela. It's not going to be the same for Sacarampeño. Those people that go out there and claim that they only know the truth and that the only way that their way is the only way are ignorant, because no way that they know the rules of every other lineage of Munanzo, because out of 100%, this Rama took this, that Rama took this Rama took that percentage of the secret. No one Munanzo, no one Tata has the knowledge that completes Palo. It's bullshit. You might have the knowledge of your lineage, and still, I'm pretty sure you don't have all the knowledge from where the beginning of the lineage was. You don't. So don't go over there haciéndote el guapo, saying that, oh, that lucero is not done correct. Yes, in your eyes, it's not done correct because it's not from your rama. It doesn't have los secretos, the secrets of your rama. But that lucero is going to be right to the other person. And yes, we have universal things. For example, you have a Lucero in Ganga, and it doesn't have a Patipemba, then I'll say, yo, man, a Fondo Canasta? Then I'll say, that's not right. But I cannot be talking shit about the other Tata. Now, I'll talk shit about the other Tata if he hasn't taught you. That you're telling me you're practicing for 3 years and you don't even know how to pronounce your name. You don't know how to do Yambosa, spiritual bath. Okay, you don't even know who the heck Siete Rayos is or Centella is. Now that right there, I'll talk shit. But when you bring me something and this is another thing, I don't make videos and then say, look, I got this Lucero, I'm gonna take it apart. Hey, if you guys do it, you do it. But I believe that there is very disrespectful because you're just showing, and like I said, to you, it might not be right. But to that tata that belongs to that lineage, that's the way they were taught. Yes, Mr. Adam. Um, we need to come back together. We need to, as a whole thing. And I'm not saying come back together to show the secrets, of the Munanzos, and to do this is as an association, not for money, right? But to be stronger, to be united. But it's never gonna happen. It's never gonna happen because in this tradition, there's too much pride. There's too much, quítate tú para ponerme yo. Yo soy el monstruo, yo soy el tigre, right? I'm better than you and black, because unfortunately, that's the way we are. That's the energies of Palo. You think that we are that, and that en ganga room, ay, mis siete rayos, my beautiful, my prince, and no, man. Palo takes huevos. You gotta show that. Palo is not, te traje unas flores, te traje una frutita, and it's not that. That is, va a servir te va a virar el mundo. It's going to create havoc where the muerto's like, nah, hell no, he ain't controlling me. I'm going to control him. And I made a video about that. Well, anyways, guys, uh, I hope, I'm glad that I could share a little bit of my story with you guys, even though, like I said, I don't have to. But it comes from Cunachila to tell you who I am. And again, I'm not talking crap about my godfather. I'm not putting down my godfather. Whatever he is doing now is now. But at that time that I worked with my godfather Felix, that dude was a beast. That dude had a reputation. That dude, man, that dude, that dude in the Bronx had a reputation. He will F you up. He will turn your world upside down. What he has become now, I don't know, man. I can't talk to him because I haven't spoken to him like in a long time. He reached out to my wife and said, "Look, I need to talk to my godson and tell him that he needs to call me." I called him, I texted him, he didn't respond. So if I need something, hey, but I go Tony, right? One of this last week, one of a great Tronco Mayor passed away from Brahma con Brahma, and here in Armuna and I want to say thank you to the godchildren. We came and we put a little bit of money together and we sent it to Tony. So to help out with the funeral arrangement of Tata Rob from Brahma Con Brahma. Very, very knowledgeable guy, very friendly guy. This guy, you talk things, he's like, I don't care. I don't care. I'm just here to do what you want me to do and stuff. He wouldn't be I didn't know him, but I spoke to him a few times through my god brother Azaria. That's Azaria's godfather. Um, so that's how we are here. We come together as one, and that's what I'm trying to teach our godchildren. Hey, if one of us gets in trouble and we can all help, let's help, unite. But anyways, salam alaikum, malaikum makwenen olemo kolembo, salam alembo, y que ensambia lo votare con mucho más simene. Till next video.